and welcome to this afternoon's talk about SEPA payments. There's been a bit of confusion lately about how SEPA payments are performed within Dynamics GP and within our electronic payments module. So I thought what we'll do is this afternoon just spend 10-15 minutes and we'll go and have a look at the setup and we'll go run through a process. So to start with, what is SEPA? So SEPA is the Single Euro Payments Area, and it's a payment integration initiative of the European Union for simplification of bank transfers denominated in euros. What SEPA aims to do is to create a single integrated standardized payments market across the 33 countries in Europe with a single format for us to use and all banks signing into it, so that it's the one process enables us to do bank transfers between banks in euros. So today we're going to look specifically at a SEPA credit transfer or a payment. So a SEPA credit transfer is a way of making payments in euros to any account within the SEPA, the Single European Payments Area. Because it needs to be a standard method, the ISO standard 20022 documents apply, and specifically today we're talking about the PAIN 001-001-03 format, which is an XML file format that's accepted by banks within SEPA to facilitate the SEPA credit transfer. So what is the PAIN 001-001-03 format? And I've got an example, the beginning of an example there. So it's an XML file. An XML file typically has tags, and within the tags it has the data. So any machine reading it can pick up a tag. It knows what the data is following that tag, and at the end it's got a slash tag to define to the reading computer what's the end of the message. So for example, if we just look down the SEPA here, we have a document, we have a tag called the customer credit transfer initiation tag. Under there's a group header and there's a message ID. So the message ID here is the date and time. Underneath there we've got the date, which is today's date, or the date on my Dynamics, which is the 12th of April 2017. This particular file has one payment transaction in it, and the total is £1,200. The initiating party is Nolan Business Solutions, and the address of our Boulder office there. Then we close off the tags and we start talking about the payment information field. It's going to be a transfer on this date, etc. So the format is fairly flexible with the tags, but yet it's a defined format which is provided to us. So Nolan's electronic payments provides you the ability to create and maintain those formats. What we'll do is we'll go through and have a look at how to set up our module so that it'll produce you a SEPA file. So first of all, inside Dynamics, when you've loaded up our module, you can load up the format, and you do that through the setup in purchasing. We can provide a text file which holds the format in it. What we've found with the many customers that are using it is not every bank adheres to exactly the same tags, and even within banks there's a variance sometimes between what people do. So what we do is we send you a format that will work with 99% of the settings, and leave it to you to customize that format. So there's tools there for you or your partner to be able to customize the format. Once the format's there, you can set up your checkbook inside Dynamics to define the output path and set it to use the SEPA format. So as you make payments out of that checkbook, it'll know where to write your SEPA output file, and it'll know how to format that file. What we also need to do is set up your bank's BIC code and IBAN number on the checkbook. So this defines, the BIC code defines the bank. So the BIC code is a global unique code that defines that particular bank and branch. That is your bank and branch. And the IBAN number is a unique code that defines your account in that branch. Once those two items are set up in your checkbook, Nolan's Electronic Payments knows how to define the sending party or the debtor party in this case. In a similar way, you need to, on your supplier, you need to set up your supplier's bank BIC code and IBAN number, and that we do within the supplier address EFT window. And we need to tick the box to say that this supplier is paid by electronic payments. Once that's done, you're free to process your payment run using a standard Dynamics GP process, and the Nolan's Electronic Payments module will output the file for you once that payment has been posted. We're going to have a look at a couple of screenshots here. Inside our module, we have a format definition, and under the options button on the menu there is the ability to import these from a text file. So this has just been imported for me, and you can see it's the SEPA pane 001, 001, 03 format. Within the file structure, we have for each row that we're going to be processing, we have that row defined, and there's the edit button, which enables you to go and edit that row to put different data in or change that row if you want to. Within the checkbook maintenance, you'll see there that I've got the checkbook maintenance window open, and using the additional tab at the top there, I can open two additional windows. So one is the electronic payments user-defined setup window on the right, and inside there's a number of user-defined fields. You're free to use those fields as you wish and map the data in those fields across into the SEPA format. So I've selected two. One I've called our IBAN number and the other one our BIC code, and I've entered in Nolan Business Solutions IBAN number and BIC code there related to our HSBC Euro account, which is in the Munich branch of HSBC in Germany. Down center at the bottom, I've also got the checkbook back set up where I can tell the system for this particular checkbook, need to output the file into my C GP output bank files SEPA folder, and to use the file format of SEPA 10103 IBAN. You'll see I've also ticked the timestamp file there, so as that file comes out, it'll timestamp it in the name, and it'll actually be SEPA Pay with the date and time stamped on it. So there's my checkbook set up. I've got a supplier who I purchase a tax subscription from. So the Irish Tax Institute is the customer that I'm going to pay. Irish Tax Institute is based in Dublin, so they work in euros. So across on the right, you can see the creditor EFT bank maintenance window, and inside there I've filled in their IBAN number. That's the number there, begins with IE for Ireland. And in the SWIFT address column, I've filled in their BIC code. I've done that because the SWIFT address is actually the address that's mapped inside our mapping for the BIC code. In the middle there's the box, and that's accessed from the additional tab on the menu for the electronic payments setup, where I can tick this supplier is paid by electronic payments. we're also able to put that tick box actually on the main creditor maintenance window if you want to make it ticked. This means having this tick button means that you can do a normal GP payment run, but only suppliers within that payment run that are ticked to be electronic payments will get the output into the file. Other suppliers might get a check or get paid through other means. Okay, so before we go and have a look at this in action, I just want to mention one other thing. The character set that the pane 0010013 message uses is the basic Latin character set, which is lowercase, uppercase, alphanumeric characters plus numerics plus your slash, question mark, and space, etc. You can read this you can pause the webinar here and read this further down if you want to, but there's some information there about how to put in special characters. But at the bottom of the note, the senders, as in if your company is sending a SEPA formatted file, must ensure that the contents are restricted to basic Latin character set. If non-supported characters are used in this field, they may lead to rejection of files or the transactions in the payment chain. What we find quite often is within our French and Spanish customers, also the Germans, they have special characters with umlauts, etc. These do not go through the SEPA format. So if you're using supplier name, you need to strip the supplier name of these characters in order to make those payments. So let's go up to GP and have a look at how this works. So I'm inside my GP here, and I'm just going to go to my setup first and have a look at that export format maintenance that we looked at on the screenshot there. So here it is. I've got a whole lot of fields, file header fields. It goes down also to transaction line, so you can have one header, which is the total of your payments, and then individual payments come along the transaction line, so you have one-to-many transactions here. The names might not be interesting at the moment, but if you go in to amend this, I can see that within that transaction line there, that's my bank identifier code, my BIC code. If I go and edit that, you can see that the output of this line is the tag BIC plus the field, the EFT SWIFT address from GP, plus the tag, the closing tag /BIC. So that's how we format the XML. If I scroll down a bit more, if we look at name, you'll see actually that's my NM vendor name /NM. So if you wanted to change this, you can change which name you use by going and amending it inside the formula definition here. Okay, so that's my format. And as we saw in the screenshots, I've got a checkbook set up, which is my HSBC Euro, and I've got a supplier which is Irish Tax. So I've had an invoice in from the Irish Tax Institute for £1,500 for my subscription, so we're ready to go and pay them. So I'm going to go into transactions, and you can use your standard process. I'm going to go into my edit check batch, and I'm going to say this is my November payment run. It's an EFT one, and the checkbook that I want to pay out of is my HSBC Euro account. Okay. I can go and find my Irish Tax Institute, and there, by ticking that, I can see I've got voucher 660 and paying, it's actually 1,500 plus the VAT on that, so that's £1,800. 1,800 euros that I need to pay them in this payment. So I'll set that up in my check batch and I can go and process that payment. So I'll print a separate remittance within here. And we see here's my remittance going off to the Irish Tax Institute. And then I'll go and post that payment. It's that posting time that it actually creates the SEPA file. So process, just put the posting journal to the screen so we can see that. So here's my posting journal. The EFT number is 2, the payment number is 474. That's important because as we look at the output file we can see that data come through. Close that down, and because that's now posted I can go into my SEPA folder and I can see here a file that's just been created at 12:44. Okay, to view an XML file, a handy way of doing so is to open up a browser and just drag the file into the browser, because that formats it nicely for me. So here's the file that's just created at 12:44. It's one transaction. The sum is £1,800. It's being sent from Nolan Business Solutions as a transfer, and Nolan Business Solutions IBAN number, that's my German identifier, coming from my Munich HSBC account. Okay, so there's one payment, and the payment is 474 from HSBC Euro. The payment's in euros for £1,800. That's my suppliers, the Irish Tax Institute's BIC number, and down at the bottom here is their IBAN number, and that's their address there. So you can see how this file has been formatted to output it. If there were more suppliers, more payments, it would go through and create more of these credit transfer sections through, and of course it would increase the number of transactions and the total sum of that. So I can now take this file and post it through my banking software to effect that SEPA payment. So I hope that's cleared up a couple of the questions you've got about SEPA payments and how to produce the SEPA file out of Nolan Business Solutions electronic payments. Thanks for your time today.